Before you walk away, just hear me out. Have you ever noticed how life has this strange way of working itself out the moment you stop pushing so hard? Like when you finally stop obsessing, stop chasing, stop gripping so tightly, things just begin to fall into place. It's almost as if the moment you let go, what you wanted starts coming to you. And believe it or not, relationships are no different. Right now, you feel her slipping away. She's distant, quieter, not the same, and everything in your gut is screaming at you to try harder, to fix it, to hold on tighter. You feel like if you could just explain yourself better, remind her of how good it used to be, how strong the connection was, she'll come back. She'll realize what you have and stop pulling away. But what if I told you that everything you're doing, everything you think is helping, might actually be the very thing pushing her further? See, the instinct to cling tighter when something feels like it's slipping is natural. It's human. But in love, especially with a woman who's beginning to question how she feels, that desperation backfires. The more you chase, the more she runs. The more you try to prove your worth, the less mystery you hold. And the truth is, people don't respond to pressure. They respond to presence. Here's the hard part. The only way to turn this around is to do the very thing you're afraid of doing. Letting go. Letting go of the need to control the outcome. Letting go of the belief that you can fix this through force or logic or the perfect words. Letting go of the fear that if you stop trying, she'll disappear completely. But letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means stepping back so things can breathe. It means reclaiming your power, the kind you had before all this overthinking, before the anxiety crept in, before you made her the center of your entire emotional world. What's happening isn't just about her. It's about you. It's about learning to sit with the discomfort of uncertainty without scrambling to fix it. It's about understanding that real connection can't be forced. It has to be felt. And that feeling doesn't come from you begging to be seen. It comes from you standing tall, grounded in your worth, knowing that who you are is enough, with or without her. So, before you send that long text, before you replay the last conversation in your head for the 100th time, take a breath, take a step back, and ask yourself not, how do I get her back? But rather, how do I get myself back? Because when you do, when you truly shift your mindset, everything changes. Not just this situation, you change. You stop feeling desperate for someone's attention, and you start attracting people who feel inspired by your presence, not pressured by your pursuit. Point 1. She's not pulling away. She's reacting to you. When a woman begins to pull away, it's easy to think it's the beginning of the end, that she's losing interest, falling out of love, or already halfway out the door. But more often than not, her distance isn't the root of the problem. It's a response to a shift in how she feels around you. Attraction isn't built on words, it's built on energy. It's emotional. In the beginning, she felt a spark, the mystery, the challenge, the excitement of discovering someone new. She didn't know what to expect next, and that made every moment with you feel alive. She felt something when she was around you, a sense of curiosity, a rush of uncertainty, maybe even butterflies. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Maybe you started putting her at the center of your world. Constant texts, constant check-ins, always available, always agreeable. You made her your top priority, not because of love, but out of fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of not being enough. And while you saw this as devotion, she began to feel something different, a lack of tension, a lack of polarity. See, when someone no longer has to earn your attention, it starts to lose its weight, not because they're ungrateful, but because it's human nature. When something is always within reach, it doesn't stir desire, it doesn't inspire effort, it starts to feel expected. And that's the mistake so many men make. They try harder. They get emotional, they plead, they ask, what's wrong? Or tell me what to do. They think if they just show more love, more concern, more presence, she'll feel secure again. But here's the paradox. The right move isn't to tighten your grip, it's to loosen it. Not as a tactic, not as a way to manipulate her into missing you, but as a way to restore balance, to give the connection space to breathe, space for her to feel what it's like not to have your constant presence, to feel the absence of what she once valued. your confidence, your independence, your groundedness. By pulling back, genuinely, not out of spite, you allow her the opportunity to reflect. You give her the chance to reconnect with her own feelings, without pressure, without noise, and in that silence, she may remember what first drew her to you in the first place, the man who didn't need to prove himself, the man who knew his worth, the man who had a full, vibrant life and simply let her choose to be part of it. Attraction doesn't disappear overnight, but it can fade quietly when the balance shifts too far in one direction. Don't try to fix it by chasing what you think is slipping away. Recenter yourself, reclaim your energy, and let the dynamic reset, not by force, but by presence. Let her feel the space. Let her feel the you she was once drawn to, not the version trying desperately to keep her. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her, the girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes, because here's the truth. Right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing. But I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. Point 2. Attraction lives in your energy, not your words. Let's be real for a second. Have you ever seen a guy who barely speaks, yet somehow still has all the attention in the room? He's not trying to impress anyone. He's not over-explaining himself. He's not cracking jokes to win people over, but people, especially women, are drawn to him. Why? Because attraction isn't about what you say, it's about what people feel when they're around you. And women, more than you might realize, pick up on energy far more than they do on words. You could say all the right things, you could memorize the perfect lines, rehearse the perfect apology, plan out the perfect text, but if the energy behind it is coming from a place of fear, insecurity, or neediness, she will feel it, and that feeling, it doesn't create connection, it creates discomfort. Something in her gut will tell her, something's off. Even if she can't explain why, your energy, the way you carry yourself, the space you hold, your presence, speaks louder than anything you could ever say. If your vibe is anxious, if you're constantly overthinking every interaction, if you're trying too hard to be what you think she wants, that energy will betray you. She won't feel safe. She won't feel pulled in. She'll feel the weight of pressure, not the spark of attraction. Here's what most men get wrong. They think if they just say the right thing, they can fix how a woman feels. But attraction doesn't respond to logic. It responds to emotion. And the emotion she's responding to isn't in your words, it's in your presence. So instead of chasing her attention, trying to explain yourself into connection, or analyzing every message she sends, pause, breathe. Check your energy. Stand firm in who you are. Be grounded. Be calm. Be present. Be the kind of man who doesn't seek approval because he's already comfortable in his own skin. That kind of energy is magnetic. It's rare and it's powerful. When a woman senses that you don't need her to feel confident, that your self-worth doesn't rise and fall based on her reaction, that's when everything starts to shift. She starts to feel curious again. She starts to wonder about you. She starts to lean in, not because you convinced her to, but because your energy pulled her in. You don't have to say much. You just have to be something different, something real, something solid. The man who knows who he is, with or without her. That's where attraction lives, not in the words, but in the unshakable presence behind them. Point 3. Predictability kills attraction, mystery fuels. Think about your favorite song. The first time you heard it, it hit different. It stirred something in you, emotion, energy, maybe even a sense of nostalgia you couldn't explain. You wanted to play it again and again, but then, over time, the magic faded. Not because the song changed, but because you got used to it. That's exactly how attraction works. In the early stages of a relationship, everything feels electric. Every text, every glance, every moment of silence is charged with meaning. There's mystery, there's unpredictability, there's a feeling of, I don't fully have this person yet, and that makes me want them more. But when a relationship becomes too predictable, that spark begins to dim. When she knows exactly what you're going to say, when your texts come like clockwork, when you're always available, always agreeable, always right there without her needing to reach even a little, something shifts. Not because she's ungrateful, not because she doesn't care, but because the emotional tension that fuels attraction slowly disappears. She stops feeling the thrill of earning your attention because she doesn't have to earn it anymore. It's just there, constant, easy, certain. And here's the truth: what is always guaranteed rarely feels exciting. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's not about ignoring her, being cold, or acting disinterested just to stir up desire. That's manipulation, and women can sense it a mile away. What this is about is remembering who you were when she first met you. Back then, you had a life, a routine, goals, passions. You had things you were building, places you were going. You weren't trying to impress her, you were just living, and she was drawn to that energy. She didn't feel like your entire focus. She felt like a part of your world, not the center of it. That's what made you attractive. The confidence, the direction, the independence, the fact that she had to step into your orbit, not that you abandoned your orbit to spin around hers. So ask yourself honestly, have you lost touch with that version of you? Have you made her your everything at the cost of your own identity? If so, it's time to rebalance, not for her, but for you. Start reconnecting with your own rhythm. Reinvest in your purpose. Be unpredictable, not by acting erratic, but by living a life that's full on its own. Let her wonder what you're up to. Let her want to be part of your story again, because women don't fall out of love when they stop liking who you are. They fall out of love when they stop feeling something around you. And feelings are sparked by polarity, by presence, mystery, strength, and surprise. So don't try to reignite the spark by forcing it. Instead, become the man she was excited to meet, the man who moved with purpose, the man who had a life before her and still has one with or without her. Bring back that energy, and the excitement will follow. Point 4. Distance creates desire. When used with intention. Let's take a step back from relationships for a second. Think about the last time you really missed something. Maybe a song you hadn't heard in years, a place that once felt like home, or a person whose presence once meant everything. You didn't miss it because it was always around. You missed it because it wasn't. That's how desire works. That's how human psychology works. We crave what we don't constantly have access to. We long for what feels just slightly out of reach. And in the realm of relationships, the same principle applies. Closeness needs contrast to stay meaningful. Without space, even love can lose its flavor. If you're always texting, always calling, constantly checking in to make sure she knows you care, your presence, ironically, begins to lose weight. She never has the chance to feel your absence, and because of that, she never has a moment to miss you. You're always there, emotionally, mentally, digitally, and what's always there becomes background noise. Safe, maybe. Predictable, sure, but not magnetic, not charged, not desired. Now, let's be very clear here. Pulling back should never be about manipulation. This isn't about playing games or creating artificial scarcity to get a reaction. That kind of energy comes from insecurity, and she'll feel that too. What we're talking about is genuine space, a pause, a reset. Stepping back not because you're trying to trigger her emotions, but because you're reclaiming your own, because you recognize that your identity doesn't need to orbit around her every move, because you understand that space gives both people clarity and it gives the connection room to breathe. When you create that space, you let her feel what life is like without your constant presence, and that's when something powerful can happen. Point 5. If she doesn't come back, it was never meant to last. Here's something you might not want to hear, but you need to. Not every woman is meant to stay in your life, and that's not a tragedy, it's a gift. Sometimes the people who walk away from us are simply making space for the ones who are truly meant to show up, the ones who see us clearly, the ones who choose us, not out of convenience, not out of comfort, but out of alignment. So if she's pulled away, if you've given space and she never comes back, let that be okay. Let that be enough. Don't take it as a failure. Don't turn it into a story about how you weren't good enough. Take it as a blessing, a redirection, a quiet mercy you'll understand more with time. Because the truth is, you don't want a woman who only stays because you chased her. You don't want a relationship where you have to constantly prove your worth, plead your case, or hold it all together with effort alone. That's not love. That's survival. What you do want is someone who meets you where you are, not because you're performing, but because you're being. A woman who chooses you even when you're not trying so hard, even when you're simply living your truth, even when you're just you. And here's the key. The best way to attract that kind of woman is to become the kind of man who no longer chases, but naturally draws others in. A man who knows his worth doesn't try to convince anyone of it. He simply embodies it. He lives it. He walks with quiet confidence, knowing that the right people will recognize his value without him needing to shout it. When you stop trying to control who stays and who goes, when you stop pouring energy into proving your worth to someone who isn't receiving it, you reclaim your power. You let go of what's not meant for you. You create space for someone who is. So if she walks and never looks back, don't beg, don't chase, don't collapse, stand tall. Because the man who doesn't need to convince anyone is the man who eventually meets someone who doesn't need convincing. Let the wrong ones leave, so the right one can find you, unapologetically whole. Point 6, the one thing that changes everything. At the end of the day, when the dust settles and the emotions fade, it all comes down to one thing. You don't need to chase, you need to level up. See, the men who get walked over, the ones who get ghosted, ignored, or overlooked, they're not necessarily bad men, they're just men who've forgotten who they are. They've built their entire sense of worth around whether a woman stays or goes, and the moment she pulls away, they crumble. Not because she left, but because she took their self-esteem with her. But the men who truly have it, the ones who are admired, respected, and hard to forget, those men do something radically different. They stop making a woman the center of their universe, and they start building a universe of their own. They don't chase validation. They don't beg for attention. They become the kind of man whose life is so full, so purpose-driven, so magnetic that others naturally want to be part of it. So now ask yourself honestly, are you trying to get her back, or are you trying to get yourself back? Because here's the truth. When you get back to you, the man you were before the anxiety, before the insecurity, before you started trying to manage someone else's emotions, that's when everything changes. You stop reacting, you stop overthinking, you start leading. Women can feel it when a man is walking in his purpose, when he's grounded, when he's not looking to be completed but is already whole. That kind of man is rare. That kind of man is magnetic. That kind of man doesn't have to chase because he pulls people in without even trying. Forget trying to be the man she used to want. Become the man you were meant to be. And look, you can't control how she feels. You can't force connection. You can't manipulate timing or bend her heart to match your effort. But what you can control is how you carry yourself when things don't go your way. What you can control is your growth, your mindset, your mission. Because the strongest men, they don't beg to be chosen. They choose themselves again and again until the right person recognizes their value without needing to be told. Attraction isn't built by convincing someone to stay. It's built by being someone worth staying for. So don't chase, don't beg, don't lose yourself trying to hold on to someone who might not be meant for your future. Just become the man who's focused, driven, centered, the man who leads with presence, not pressure, the man who doesn't fear walking away because he knows what he brings to the table. And when you step into that version of yourself, everything else starts to fall into place, without force, without fear, and without the need to chase anything. If you found this insight valuable, make sure to subscribe to The Girl's Mind for more wisdom on mastering your life and attraction. Until next time, stay strong, stay centered, and always remember, the key to attraction isn't in chasing, it's in being. But for those of you who are serious about stepping up and taking control, I've created a one-on-one chat with me. Choose your package and let's solve any problem you're facing, whether it's crushing your goals or handling that conversation with a girl.